guys, it's Jackie with Intoxicating Arts, and today we're making a sign for my front door, and I'm using this wood panel that I had previously painted with this dripping blood because I was going to use it for Halloween, but I didn't end up finishing that project, and I'm just going to paint right over this with some really thick black paint. This is actually a chalkboard paint that I made myself using some heavy body black acrylic paint and some calcium carbonate along with, I believe, some gel medium. So I'm just going to cover this whole thing, make sure it's covered really well and there's no scary dripping blood showing through. And once I have that completely coated, I'm going to set it aside just to dry while I do all of the vinyl work on the silhouette. This is where I got my inspiration from. It's from Pinterest, and it's this really cool sign that really relays the message, plain and simple, that you don't want anybody knocking on your door or ringing your doorbell because you have a sleeping baby and you have barking dogs. So this one retails for $37 for a 9x12 panel. My panel is a lot smaller, and I happen to have all these materials on hand, as well as a Silhouette Cameo, which is not a cheap machine by any means. So I was thrilled when I realized I already had all the vinyl I needed and I could customize this to make it exactly how I wanted it to look. So I started off with Silhouette Studio to create my design, and I just started by typing in the sh part, and then I'll figure out what font I want to use for that. So I went through quite a few times until I found exactly what font I wanted to use, and I knew that I wanted it to be kind of like a flowy, just fun type of font. And this part and then the knot and knot are going to be in pink because I don't have red vinyl, and I was fine with pink for this, even though we're really trying to stay away from pinks and purples for our baby girl. I was okay with it for the front door, and I really like the way that pink looks with black. So I'm just filling in the rest of it the way I want, making sure that I don't go outside of my parameters as far as the measurements that I have for my wooden panel. And then once I have that done, I just deleted the sh and the two knots in there so that I can cut this part out of white vinyl, and then I'll add them back in and only cut those out of the pink vinyl. I'm using my vinyl roll feeder, and there's these two little cutout squares in the bottom of it that actually fit perfectly in the feet on the bottom of the Silhouette Cameo. So you'll want to make sure that's in there nice and sturdy, and then you can put your roll of vinyl in and feed it through the bottom right here like I am doing, and then I will have the machine suck that up. I had to move my right roller over a little bit so that it would pull it in evenly. Then I'll be adjusting my settings on the silhouette to make sure it's on the vinyl setting, and I have to manually change my blade to a 1 because you only want to cut through that top vinyl layer and not through the backer paper. So I'm just showing here it cutting. It took a while to cut, and I cut a lot of the video out, but you can't really see anything that's going on while it's cutting, so you have to just hope that using the settings that they told you to use and a decent blade will work just fine. And then right here I'm just showing there's a little blade that's included and then a track for you to cut along. You can also feed this through your machine further, and there's a similar thing on the back of the machine. But this is just one of the features of the vinyl roll feeder that I thought was kind of cool. And here I'm slowly pulling this off just to make sure it did in fact cut all the way through and everything looks good so far. So I'll keep going down to the bottom, and then when I got to the really tiny text on the bottom, I ran into a problem because of the font that I used. It was more of a like a New Times Roman type of font, so it had all these little pointy areas on it, and that actually caused a problem for me. They wanted to pop off, so I decided instead of fussing with that, I'll just redo it in a more bold font, and I'll just cut that part out along with the rest of the things that I'm going to cut out in pink. So just went right over and redid that in a different font, no big deal. Then I'm going to send that to the machine again with just the knot and the knot. So you can see here I'm starting to just delete all the other stuff. got all that deleted, and then this will make it really easy for me to line up the pink with the white. So now it's cutting my pink letters for me, and I do end up with a lot of waste on the pink. If you're concerned about that, you could cut these down more and kind of try to place them on there yourself, but for me it just wasn't worth the time to try to fuss with that, and I was okay with losing a little bit of vinyl because I have a lot of vinyl and I don't use it quite as often as I would hope. So here you can see I'm just going through and weeding out all of the inside pieces. My Silhouette came with this little hook tool, which is awesome. You just kind of poke the middle and it pulls right out. This gets a little bit more difficult on the smaller letters, but I just did this while the machine was cutting out all the pink letters so that I could fill my time. And now it's time to put some transfer paper on. So transfer paper makes it really easy for you to pull these letters off of the sticker type paper, and so the sticker type paper that the vinyl is on, it doesn't want to stick to that. It wants to stick to the transfer paper. So you just basically burnish that down really well, and then it all transfers to the transfer paper, and then you'll be able to use that to put it on your piece of wood, because then it's going to want to stick to the wood more than the transfer paper. So this particular transfer paper actually has a grid on it, which I could have totally used to my advantage, but I wasn't paying attention and I didn't even think about it. So in the end, you'll see some of my letters are actually a little off. They're a little slanted, but now I know for next time. So you can see I'm burnishing that down really good using this plastic thing that I got from where I purchased my vinyl from. Then I have my dried wood panel here, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this and see, okay, that looks like it's gonna fit. I just want to make sure it's actually gonna fit on there because I didn't know. Sometimes I do measurements of things and then I think they're right and I'll go with it, and then they're really not correct. So I got some water on there. It's not because it was wet, or it's not the paint. I got some water on it, so I was just wiping that off. So anyways, this looks like it's going to fit on there pretty good. And I guess I started with the pink letters. I thought I started with the white, but nope, I guess not. Oh, actually now I know why. I started with the pink letters because they are the topmost and bottommost sentences and parts of the panel, so that makes sense. And then I'm just measuring side to side to make sure that I have them even as far as that goes, and I did. I had it about 1/2 inch away from each side, so that meant it will be good. And then I can press that down and really burnish it down using that plastic tool that I got from Oh My Crafts. That's also where I got some of my vinyl from. It's the Oracle brand vinyl. The one that I got is actually removable because it's meant to go on the walls, and so I will actually remedy that later. I'll show you what I do. And I'm just pulling this off really quick here, or really slow, I should say, to make sure I get every single letter on there. I don't want anything falling off. But I actually did lose my comma between you and please. See, it's missing, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't think anyone's really gonna notice that, but I did, of course. I don't know where it went, so I just dealt with it. And then I lined up all of the white letters, and I'm just gonna burnish those down. So you can kind of see on here that it's a little slanted to the right. It's not as noticeable on the larger letters though. And then if you have any letters that don't really want to stay down, just go in individually and burnish them as you're pulling, and that will fix that problem. So I'm almost done just peeling off that last little part here. And I love how this came out. So in order to keep all of the letters on there, we actually sprayed this with some clear spray paint outside, and of course that took away the matte finish. It gave it more of a glossy finish, but that's not a big deal. And then we actually drilled some holes in the top of it to put some satin black ribbon through it so that we could put it on our wreath holder on the front door. In hindsight, we should have drilled the holes first before painting it because it did split some of the wood, and then I had to go and repaint it, and then I had a matte finish with a glossy finish. So definitely drill your holes first. And this is what I use. It's a clear glitter sealant, but it works perfectly fine for just sealing anything. So I know my letters are stuck on there and they're not going to fall off. So that's my project, and this is what it looked like after I spray painted it. You can see it's kind of glossy now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!